Hi guys, welcome or welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. It is so greatly appreciated. Truly is. Before we get started, I want to thank you guys. You've been sending me the nicest messages and I truly appreciate them. I really do. And I try to get back to as many of you as I possibly can, even if it takes me a little while. I'm sorry. But please know that I see them, I read them, and they mean so much to me. They really do. So, today we're going back down the Reddit rabbit hole, shocker, with a brand new story time. I have not read this at all, and I'm going to be blind reacting to it with you guys right now for the first time. And it is, I live below a cult leader, and I fear I've angered her. So right off the bat, this can't be good, right? I, 28 female, have lived in the same apartment for 4 years. My neighbors in the unit above me are a couple in their 30s who have lived there for about 3 years with no issues between us. During the past 6 months, I've noticed some changes in their behavior. At first, it was just a few days per week. I'd hear music with heavy bass accompanied by rhythmic jumping. I assume they bought an exercise bike or something, but sometimes the jumping gets so intense that it shakes my overhead light fixtures. The jumping routine has been escalating to the point that it takes place every day, normally between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. Oh. I also noticed that they called 1-800-JUNK and got rid of a lot of nice possessions. However, I figured none of this was my business, so I kept my observations to myself. About 3 weeks ago, everything escalated. Multiple times per week, on weekdays and during working hours. It sounds like they're hosting a mini Burning Man event in their apartment. The music is so loud and clear that it sounds as if I'm at a concert while sitting in my living room. There's clearly a lot of people involved because the jumping and stomping shakes multiple light fixtures and cabinets. The music is a mix of new age spiritual vibes, dance beats, and a male voiceover giving weird instructions like rebrand yourself, surrender yourself, stomp in response. I've taken audio recordings on my phone and one video from the hallway during these events. I still didn't complain to the building, but I wanted evidence in case it became a regular thing. This week, I've encountered a big problem. The couple above me has a private patio, which is directly above my bedroom. I came home from a 3-day trip out of town yesterday, and my ceiling is legitimately collapsing in one corner. Big chunks of plaster have fallen to the ground, and I saw a little water. I immediately called my superintendent since I don't want to be buried alive by ceiling rubbish if it gets out. When he came to check it out, he was shocked and pissed. He said that the couple appeared to be working with some people, doing workshops or something. He can see their patio from his apartment window and has watched the group do these dancing, jumping dirt rituals out there on a weekly basis. He said they all dance and jump to the music and then spread dirt along with something else. He doesn't know what across the patio on a weekly basis. He believes that the dirt and unknown substance combo is getting through the wood cracks, absorbing water, and weighing down the ceiling. Fix the problem, my super said he had to go talk to the woman, check out their patio, and ultimately hire a contractor to pull up the wood, scrape out whatever the hell it is causing the ceiling to fall. So, which means she's gonna blame you. Is that where this is going? She's gonna blame you, like it's your fault. I could hear them talking from my room, and the woman sounded distraught and defensive. When my super left, he called me and warned me that she might try to come down to my apartment and demand to see the damage, but don't let her in. This was a little concerning to me. Is she a threat? The damage is real. I wouldn't mind showing her. She started playing her music again, relatively loud, kind of like a warning shot. I mentioned the music and jumping to the super and said I had audio recordings. He started begging me to send the evidence to the front office. Sounds like he wants them evicted. I said, okay, sure. I hate to be a rat, but if I have to choose sides, I'll side with the building that dictates my annual rent price. He called me twice more that afternoon to confirm that I share my evidence, and I said yes. Shortly after everything went down, I left my apartment to run an errand. The woman was outside, just standing on the sidewalk, and stared at me the whole time as I walked by. I just ignored her. Now today, I went to run another quick errand in the neighborhood. When I returned, the couple was again standing on the sidewalk. Both of them this time followed me into the building and then waited until I was opening my apartment door to confront me. They were both wearing creepy fake smiles. The woman has horse girl hair down to her waist and stared, interrogating me. They asked, is your ceiling really collapsing? No, bitch, I'm lying. When did it start? Do you think it was related to the recent rainfall? Because our patio is just fine. I was a little uncomfortable. Were they waiting for me outside? How did they know I even left the building? Why were they both standing there? I've literally never seen them enter together in the 3 years of living here. But I have nothing to hide, so I confirm the damage is pretty bad. I just don't want it to fall during the winter, and I apologize for the inconvenience. But hopefully work will be done quickly for everyone's sake. They seem satisfied enough, so I said have a great day, and I shut my door. I'm getting the sense that they're nervous about what the contractors will find when they tear open their patio. What the fuck is up with dirt rituals? That's what I want to know. Who are these people she's working with? I don't know what they look like or why they're available to stomp around on the weekdays. I mean, they should be working. The repair what? I don't know why that's so funny. Because it's so true. What? The repair work has started on both sides, but the contractors will come on Wednesday for the grand reveal of what's under the patio that's making my ceiling collapse. In the meantime, I feel like I need to be alert and keep my eye out for these people, as well as the couple. It's unusual for me to see them in general, especially twice in 2 days. They seem scared and in denial of the problem. They also literally ambushed me. Hopefully it's over soon. Update. The contractors came today and reported there was, in fact, dirt and sludge visible below the neighbor's patio. However, thanks to the help of my internet sleuthing friend, I've gained a lot more insight into the realm that dwells above me. As one Redditor suggested, nice work. My neighbor is affiliated with multiple ecstatic dance communities, both international and local. The international group has planned events during which all cells of the organization host dance sessions simultaneously. It also has a YouTube channel that streams music 24/7. I listened to a portion of it and a female voiceover declared, "You're becoming the game master." Meanwhile, the local groups seem to be more exclusive and more radical in their mindset. One of the local groups, hosted by my neighbor's good friend, conducts 3-day events that cost upwards of $400 for admission. Participation in all 3 days is mandatory. I get the impression they all sleep in the studio space, and the event description mentions that it begins with a ritual. The last and darkest affiliation that I've confirmed via social media footprints is that my neighbor and a few members of the local community are also involved with some compassionate death groups. There's no way for me to verify at this time if these affiliations overlap in a meaningful way, so I will simply state the facts that I have evidence to prove. My super asked me about the jumping again when I saw him today. He remains eager to act. He agreed with the new game plan to wait for another large event to happen and then call him to check on my dishwasher so he can intervene. So, for now, the ways in which the puzzle pieces of ecstatic dance, compassionate death, patio dirt rituals, and ceiling collapse connect will remain a mystery. we have updates. Hi everyone, thanks for your interest in my strange saga. While the contractors will be arriving at 8:30 a.m. tomorrow to start the patio upheaval process, I have a few updates to share since I last posted 4 days ago. The couple and the people. The couple has gone back to elusive mode since their confrontation on Friday. I haven't seen either of them, but I heard the woman talking on the phone while checking her mail. I live by the building's front door. She mentioned the next one is on. Then the person on the line cut her off, but it sounded like she was planning her next workshop already. At least I'll be prepared for it and will call my super to fake check on my dishwasher so he can bust them when the people are present. As for the people, I think I've identified one member of the group. On Saturday, I heard the music at an ambient level, mostly just bass, not loud enough to launch a complaint, as well as increased foot traffic in the stairwell. Since it was a weekend, these observations alone could be a coincidence. I was in my apartment until late afternoon when I left to meet up with friends. My boyfriend has been staying with me, so I don't have to enter or exit the building alone. Smart. As we went down the stairs, I saw a man outside standing directly in the front of the building's door. My building is next to a few establishments, including a coffee shop, so it's common for people to accidentally stand in front of the doorway without realizing that it's an apartment building. But every time I open the door behind someone in my path, the other person's reaction is inevitably the exact same. Turn, quick moment of recognition, then move far out of the way. Not this guy. He was giving bouncer energy with a wide stance, clad in the back cut-off t-shirt, sunglasses, and a black baseball cap. He also had a well-groomed mustache, but that was the only identifiable feature about him. He was looking at his phone when I opened the door, but when he turned around, he looked at me, sidestepped just enough for me plus my boyfriend to pass, returned to his position, and then started texting while looking at us as we got into an Uber. My boyfriend agreed that his demeanor was odd, and his doorway stance was like someone waiting to get into the building or new people inside. He could have caught the door to go in when I was leaving, though. People do that sometimes. After this encounter, along with the fact that I heard more people come into the building that day, a potential theory is that the group wanted to know when I would be out of the apartment so they could do their jumping routines without interruption. I think I saw the same man the following day, but he was sitting on the bench next to my building's front door instead of standing. I'm also not 100% sure it was him because he wasn't wearing the baseball cap and sat hunched over his phone, so I couldn't see his face well. But I did notice the well-groomed mustache. Next steps. Yesterday, my super was the one standing in the front of the building. He hangs out around the block every day, but he was leaning on the brick between my building's front door and the establishment to the immediate right. He told me about the 8:30 contractor arrival on Wednesday, but I wonder if he was also scaring off the weekend door guard with his presence. Now, for the final clues of interest. I'm Instagram friends with the person who lives on the 3rd floor of my building. She looks a little older than me, mid-30s, but we have similar energy and lifestyles. Unlike me, she's a big Burning Man person. Not sure if the couple actually went, their music just reminded me of it. So, there was a small chance that I'm living in a Rosemary's Baby scenario. I decided to message her on Sunday to find out if she knew anything. She said she was sorry about my ceiling, confirmed that she's heard the loud music a few random times inside, and agreed the dirt spreading sounded bizarre. She hadn't witnessed anything. She doesn't seem like the investigative type. But she did send me a short video with her view from the patio. While the patio's appearance was nondescript to an average viewer, there were a few strange things that stood out to me. On the day my super chipped off all my unstable ceiling plaster, I also heard a power drill and potentially a saw at work on the patio overhead. Of course, I assumed some preliminary work was taking place to prepare for the contractors, so I didn't think anything of it. In the Sunday video, there were a lot of plants all around the perimeter of the patio. The center of the patio was empty, no objects, while a wicker couch was positioned in the corner directly above the damage site. Why is this weird? First, I used to be able to see an outdoor dining table plus at least 4 plastic chairs in the center area. Maybe they got rid of these when they called 1-800-JUNK. Second, plants would potentially explain some of the dirt, but why was there a couch on top of the area with ceiling collapse instead of plants? The couch was likely moved to that spot recently since it was allegedly rainfall that caused the water damage overload. A wicker couch would have shielded that entire area from excess water. Third, like I said, I swear I heard and saw a power drill on Friday afternoon, but from the video, all the wood planks looked intact. In fact, the entire patio looked undisturbed despite the fact that contractors are coming and will need to clear space. So, is it possible that they got a head start with work in the water damage area and then covered up the opening with the couch? Maybe they want to clear some of the evidence. I haven't heard any sounds of moving objects, i.e. plants or couch, since I saw the video on Sunday, so I'm wondering what their game plan is for the contractors. I expect them to at least move the plants, and the couch will ultimately have to move since my super said they'll be tearing up the entire deck to make sure my ceiling is safe again. I'll post a second, shorter update tomorrow evening or Thursday morning after more information comes out. Thanks again for following along. This has been a wild journey, and I fear it's far from over. Update. Hey everyone, sorry for the delay. Last week was unexpectedly chaotic, so I figured I'd wait until I had a better handle on the current situation before updating. Tuesday evening, my boyfriend and I were making dinner when he began to hear a standard outburst of stomping and clomping overhead. I've continued to document the most egregious incidents since building management promised to pursue legal action. I've also tried to block out some of the sounds for the sake of my mental health. I can imagine. My boyfriend pointed out the shenanigans from above. He was genuinely startled, to which I reply, I told you it's maddening. About 15 minutes after the upstairs settled down, my flimsy front doorbell rang. I crept over to look through the peephole and cringed. My neighbors were on the other side of the door, standing like statues with hands behind their backs and heads cast down. Their determined stance signaled that there was no way they would leave until I answered. If I chose to ignore, I knew they would either return, send a text, or stalk me on the street again. Since my boyfriend was present, I figured this confrontation was the safest option. So I waved him over with fear in my eyes that conveyed all he needed to know. When I opened the door, there were no fake smiles. However, in typical fashion, my neighbors began the conversation with a misdirection. I just want to check in with you since you never responded to my text, the woman said. Was there something in the language or, keep in mind, our final text exchange had been over 2 weeks prior, so I knew that this was not the point of their visit. I told her the language was fine. I just didn't know what to say. From there, the gaslighting and denial campaign took off in full swing. I told my neighbors we had just heard commotion minutes before their arrival, which elicited reactions of pure shock. We were drinking tea. Chuckles. Yeah, we were just sitting on the couch drinking tea. I'm sure that's what you were doing. I'm super sure that's what you were doing. The rest of the conversation, which I tried to end 3 times before they finally got the point, went similarly. Every statement I made was returned with expressions of bewilderment, as if I was speaking in tongues, and every response was riddled with lies. At times, the couple would accidentally contradict themselves, such as, the one Wednesday party was the first time we had people over in 2022. Since 2020. Right, since 2020. And we didn't have any other parties that weekend, especially not on Sunday. Sunday's when we have our dance class. Yeah, and we were hungover on that Sunday from our party. They also claim they're too old to be partiers, even though they allegedly held 3 birthday parties in honor of the guy. Since my neighbor is a dancer, her body language becomes amusingly expressive, as if her motions would somehow sway my opinions. At one point, the woman said, "I think we should resolve this right now." "How about this?" she proposed. "How about one of you, motioning to my boyfriend with both arms open, come up to our apartment right now and walk around, swirling finger in a clockwise circle above our heads." I could tell she really wanted to invite herself into my apartment, but she sensed that wasn't an option given my stoic demeanor throughout the entire pandering episode. I told her no. We were making dinner and when they interrupted. At this point, my neighbors finally admitted why they had come. They said they had received a letter that was aggressive and included additional wild accusations. The guy asked point blank, "Did you involve the building?" I told them I did because I was confused and they had not listened to my requests. I also said that I genuinely don't know what the letter says. The building manager told me to tell them that it was in the hands of the management now. With that, both members of the couple said, "Okay." I said okay, and they awkwardly retreated upstairs. I shut the door, heart racing. I was so glad that my boyfriend was present to witness the gaslighting and validate me. Every time I interact with them, I'm left confused as to what was even said. Within 10 minutes of the confrontation, I received a call from my super. He said that, presumably after our talk, the couple called him and asked what is going on. He said, "I don't know, I'm just the super." They asked to schedule a meeting with him. He declined. The following day, it was clear that the neighbors were not happy. The woman moved their speaker plus subwoofer. Yes, they admitted that they had a subwoofer in their apartment, back into their living room and bumped it so loud that the glasses on my bar cart were tinking together rhythmically. I emailed the building manager with videos of the repaired ceiling, mentioned the confrontation, and attached a couple audio recordings of jumping that I'd taken amid writing the note. It's true that neither my super nor I know the contents of the letter. What is a warning or a notice that the eviction process would commence? But the building manager replied that she was sorry that they came downstairs. She didn't understand why they felt the need to confront anyone, and hopefully the letter would just do its job. While all of this sounds like I've made my situation worse, there's now a silver lining of hope. After the increase in music and jumping on Wednesday and Thursday, I noticed a stark change on Friday. I started to hear commotion as if the couple was either soundproofing their entire unit or in the act of moving. Think rearranging furniture, but for real this time. I heard items being dragged, loud bangs, and a power drill. The moving style activities continued throughout the weekend, including Sunday morning when I saw a professional cleaner working in the building stairwell. I was leaving for a day trip. Of course, they would not be evicted at the drop of a hat. However, I think it's possible that the letter angered the couple enough to make an arrangement with the building. If they leave on their own terms, they won't be penalized for breaking the lease. The only other in-person encounter I've experienced since the confrontation was on Sunday evening. My boyfriend and I were unloading our friend's car, which was parked outside the apartment building after our day trip. I was taking some time since my boyfriend couldn't find my jacket he borrowed. Since I was preoccupied by the jacket, I didn't give any thought to the neighbors. Right as we geared up to shut the door and say goodbye, I looked up to see my neighbors crossing the street, about 15 feet in front of my car, while holding out hands. They both looked to their left, made brief eye contact with blank expressions, and then continued forward. Naturally, this could be a coincidence, but the front window of their apartment has a direct view of the street out front. It was also somewhat late to be going out on a Sunday, and they didn't enter any of the businesses that are opposite our building. If they wanted to avoid me, I was quite conspicuous while holding a pumpkin. They could have walked on the side. They could have walked on the sidewalk behind us. I asked my boyfriend if he saw them too. He did. I'll ask my super if he knows about any developments, including a potential move. The neighbors are still here, obviously. But in the meantime, my Ring camera arrived. I'll be installing it outside my door this afternoon, which will give me a better sense of what's happening. I'll update again if I receive confirmation that they are heading out the door once and for all. If they aren't, I expect my Ring camera will provide evidence as to how often people are participating in the jumping routines. When I woke up this morning, I immediately heard some of my overhead light fixtures shaking as the neighbors danced to music and hand drums, plus a singer shouting in a foreign language. So my torture continues, but signs point to a peaceful, or at least a peace-restoring resolution on the horizon. Update. My neighbors received a letter from the building attorney confronting me at my door, retaliated with increased activity, but might be moving away in the near future. I really hope so for your sake, girl. Oh my God. But if they didn't and you have updates, can you please send them? Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, guys, if you're still here, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you and I appreciate you so, so, so very much. Please like, subscribe, and comment if you haven't yet and you feel so inclined to, because it really, really helps me out. And I really do appreciate it so very much. And until next time, stay safe out there.